to my channel. My name is Andy, sometimes Mouse, and I talk about books and book-related things, and today I am giving you my July TBR. Now, we will have just been coming off of Clear Your Shit, but I still have these, like, goals of finishing, you know, series and things that I've had in my ebook library forever, and prepping for Clear Your Shit, the big edition, in the fall, you know. So we're gonna continue, and people keep releasing books and series, and I'm gonna need them to stop. Honestly, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. Keep writing fantastic books, please. So we're gonna talk about all of the books that I am reading this month, with a caveat, a very small caveat. There is a project that I have that may or may not come to fruition, where I am going to read a certain type of book, and only that certain type of book, for about a week, and I'm going to film that content. I've done this before. However, that content's not going to come out for a couple of months, and so I wanted it to be a surprise. And I also didn't want anyone to have expectations. So I am not telling you about those books. You will find out when that video does or does not come out. If anything, I will talk about it in vlogs when I finally do get around to that. But that won't be for quite some time. So let's go ahead and talk about the books I will be reading in July. We're going to start up with the series continuations. If you're new here, I split up my books in usually just two different categories. Series that I am continuing, and then everything else. Also, if you're new here, fun fact, I, this year, am trying to read one of every genre every single month, and then a classic book every other month. This has led to some very interesting things for me, but last year I had a lot of fantastic reads, and it's because I stuck to the genres I liked and knew. This year I wanted to branch out a little bit more and, I don't know, read a book that pisses me off every once in a while, you know? So I have been branching out and reading more genres than I usually do. So if my TBR ever feels all over the place and you didn't know these things, that's why. Alright, let's talk about series continuations. First up, we have Reaperman by Terry Pratchett. This is book 11 or 12 in the Discworld series, which has like 40 books or something. It's a lot. This book is following Death specifically. He's, well, sort of, he's missing, presumed gone, which leads to the kind of chaos you always get when an important public service is withdrawn. At the same time, on a farm far, far away, a tall, dark stranger is turning out to be really good with a scythe, and there's a harvest to be gathered in. That's it, that's the plot. Next up, I will be rereading to prepare to read the third book. I will be rereading Little Thieves by Margaret Owen, as well as Painted Devils. These are two rereads for me. And then I will be reading Holy Terrors, all by Margaret Owen. I really, really enjoyed the first two books. Some people didn't enjoy the second book for various reasons, romance reasons, and I disagree with most of those people, so here we are. When it comes to these kinds of things, to avoid spoiling things, I'm just going to tell you about the first book, and then you can figure out the rest on your own if you want to. We, in this book, follow Vanya, who is the adopted goddaughter of Death and Fortune. She was Princess Giselle's dutiful servant up until about a year ago when Death and Fortune said, "Hey, bestie, you owe us for raising you." Crazy. And Vanya said no, and essentially stole Princess Giselle's life. This is a retelling of the, what is it called? I don't remember. It's one that I don't know. It's a retelling, maybe editing me will put it somewhere, I don't remember. It's a retelling of a story where a girl gives another one a pearl necklace and they, like, can switch identities or whatever. Real Giselle is left penniless while Vanya uses the enchanted string of pearls to take her place. Vanya leads a lucrative double life as a princess and a jewel thief, but one heist gets her in particular trouble. She is cursed by a god that she pissed off, and now has 2 weeks to figure out how to break her curse and make her get away. She has a feral guardian half-god, Giselle's sinister fiancé, and an overeager junior detective on her tail, and she'll have to pull off the biggest grift yet in order to save her life. I'm very excited to read the third book. I don't own it, because I couldn't afford it when this edition came out, and I just did not want to get the third book and it not match the books I already have. I don't know. I might change my mind after I read it, though. We shall see. Next up, we have another trilogy that I will be rereading the first book and then reading the second and third books because I didn't know they had come out, apparently. And this is the Hell for Hire, Hell the Witch, and Hell to Pay, all by Rachel Aaron. if you guys know me, you know I love Rachel Aaron's books. The first book follows Bex, who is a demon and runs a crew that are the denizens of the Nine Hells. I don't know. Bex and her team have, worked hard to do the jobs that they've been doing. They meet up with Adrian Blackwood, who is a witch with a problem. His family has skirted the edges of King Gilgamesh's ire for centuries, but he made a decision as a child and is personally responsible for putting his entire coven in heaven's crosshairs. He wants to fight King Gilgamesh, and he's going to need the help of the crew. So Adrian and Bex essentially signed this contract, both of them not knowing the full story, and they turn out to be a match made in the hells, which causes a lot of chaos, and it brings Bex back into a little bit of her past, and they have to carry on from there. It's a job, they gotta finish it, right? So I'm excited to read the next 2 books. I love Rachel Aaron's writing. We've talked about it a lot. And that's it for the series continuation. So we're going to talk about the next books on my list. First up, we have The Starving Saints by Caitlin Starling. I was given a gift card to my favorite horror bookstore for my birthday, and it was almost exactly the amount of money that this book cost. So that was great. That's what I got. And I've been very excited about this book coming out because Art's talked about it for a while. Amor Castle has been under siege for 6 months. Food is running low and there has been no sign of rescue. But just as the survivors consider deliberately thinning their number, the castle stores are replenished, the sick are healed, and the divine figures of the Constant Lady and her saints have arrived, despite the barricaded gates, offering succor in return for devotion. Soon the entire castle is under the sway of their saviors, partaking in intoxicating feasts. I lost my thought. Feasts of terrible origin. The war hero Servoin gives her allegiance to the Constant Lady. Foysign, I'm probably saying all these so bad, I'm so sorry, Caitlin. A disorganized, paranoid nun turned sorceress races to unravel the mystery of these new visitors and exonerate her experiments as their source. And in the bowels of the castle, a serving girl, Trela, is torn between her thirst for secret vengeance and the desperate need to escape the horrors that are unfolding within Amor's halls. As the castle descends into into madness, forgetting the massed army beyond its walls in favor of hedonistic ecstasy, these 3 women are the only ones to still see their situation for what it is. But they are not immune to the temptations of the castle's new masters, or each other, gay, and their shifting alliances and entangled pasts bring violence to the surface. Saving the castle and themselves will take a reimagining of who they are and a reorganization of the very world itself. We will see, we will see. I'm very excited. I really like this cover too. I think it's a really, really cool book cover. And I like Caitlin's horror, like, a lot, so that's gonna be fun. Next up, we have another horror book. This book is called Asunder by Kirsten Hall. Karis Eska is a death speaker locked into an irrevocable compact with a terrifying eldritch entity who has granted her the ability to speak with the newly departed. This is how she pays her rent and her bills, etc. And she uses her abilities to investigate suspicious deaths around the city she calls home. A job goes sideways and connects her to a dying stranger with a dangerous secret, and her entire world is upended. Farron is willing to pay a ludicrous sum of money for her help. To save him, Karis inadvertently binds him to her shadow, an act that may doom them both. If they want to survive, they will need to learn to trust one another. Together, they journey to the heart of a fated empire, all the while hunted by arcane horrors and the unquiet ghosts of their pasts. You know, interesting. Next up, we have my contemporary pick for this month, and that is going to be Wake the Wild Creatures by Nova Rensuma. This is a young adult book that kind of feels like it might have thriller vibes. Talia used to live in the ruins of Neves, which was a once grand hotel in the wilds of the Catskill Mountains. She lived there with her mom, Pola, and their community of like-minded women. Some came to the Neves to escape cruel men, etc. It's kind of like a feminist cult. As their numbers grew, complications followed, and everything came crashing down the night electric lights pierced the forest. Uniformed men arrested Pola, calling her a murderer and a fugitive, and Talia was taken away. Now Talia is living with her father that she doesn't really know, or rather her family that she doesn't really know, having to fit into a world that she wasn't raised in with capitalism and misogyny and disconnected from nature, etc. But as she experiences the real world for the first time, it seems like she has some questions and is hoping to find answers. She is currently waiting a signal for her mother, but in the meantime, She finds an unexpected ally who's helping her find the answers, face a mother who's often kept her at arm's length and tried to reach the refuge she lost, if the mist hasn't swallowed her path home. It sounds very interesting, so I'm excited to get to read it. Next up on the list, we have No One Can Know by Kate Alice Marshall. If you've been here a while, you know I really like Kate Alice Marshall. Big fan, big fan. This book is about the Palmer sisters who left their home in Arden Hills and never returned, but Emma discovers that she's pregnant and her husband loses his job, so she has no option but to return to the home that her estranged sisters left but still own, and it is where her parents were murdered. I almost said moitered, which is not how that word works. Emma never told anyone what she saw the night her parents died, even when she became a prime suspect. But her presence in the house threatens to uncover secrets that have stayed hidden for years, and the sisters are drawn together once again. They face memories of the past, rivalries restart, connections are forged, and for the first time, Emma starts to ask questions about what really happened that night. The more Emma learns, the more riddles emerge, and Emma begins to wonder just what her siblings will do to keep the past buried, and whether she did the right thing, staying quiet about what was whispered that night. No one can know. Next up, we have a book that has been on my TBR for a really long time, and I have extremely low expectations, I'm going to be honest, because at this point I've educated myself a lot on the specific topic, and so some of these books feel a little like, you know? And this is a nonfiction pick, and it is The Everything Health Guide to Adult ADHD by several different doctors. It's a guide on managing adult ADHD, or like the guilt and blame and how to reassure yourself like it is a real issue, and not the result of laziness. And it just kind of, it's a guide. It's a step-by-step guide, and I'm hoping that I find some like helpful tips or tricks that I don't know about already, and I'm curious about it. And it's been on my TBR for a long time, so here we are. Next up, we have the Iliad by Homer, specifically the Emily Wilson translation. The Iliad and the Odyssey are classics. This is my classic pick. This follows Achilles and his conflict with Agamemnon. Don't ask me to say that word. Interwoven in the tragic sequence of events are powerfully moving descriptors of the ebb and flow of battle, the besieged city of Ilium. I can say words, I just don't know why I'm struggling today, apparently. The feud between the gods and the fate of mortals. You know, most of us know these books. I read them when I was 11. I read the Iliad and the Odyssey. I asked for the Iliad when I was 11. And then read it. I want 11-year-old me's brain sometimes, because what? I still don't know that I'm going to be able to read it, but I have. Do I remember it? No. What 11-year-old asks? Anyway, whatever. Next up, we're going to be reading The Memory Police by Yoko Ogawa, which is my sci-fi pick. This is also like kind of a neo-classic. Like, people are really seeming to enjoy it. On an unnamed island, off an unnamed coast, objects are disappearing. First hats, ribbons, birds, and roses, until things become much more serious. Most of the island's inhabitants are oblivious to these changes, while those few imbued with the power to recall the lost objects live in fear of the memory police, who are committed to ensuring that what has disappeared remains forgotten. When a young woman who is struggling to maintain her career as a novelist discovers that her editor is in danger from the memory police, she concocts a plan to hide him beneath her floorboards. As fear and loss close in around them, they cling to her writing as the last way of preserving the past. It's dystopian, and I'm not sure how hyped I am about reading it right now in our current environment, but I'm going to read it, and I think it'll be a good time, but I think it's going to stress me out at the same time, you know? Next up, we have A Clash of Steel by C.B. Lee. This is a recommendation from my mom. This is a sapphic retelling of Treasure Island. I want to say Treasure Planet, and it's not Treasure Planet. I just have seen that movie like a lot. There was a point where I was watching it like every other day for like 3 months. So if I accidentally call it Treasure Planet, that's why. But yeah, it's a retelling of Treasure Island. We follow a character named Zhang. She grew up all of her life hearing these stories about the dragon fleet and the leader of it, the head of the dragon, and her father she doesn't know. The only thing she has from him is this pendant. So she finds out that the pendant's true nature is a tiny map. This is just Treasure Planet. I haven't read Treasure Island, so maybe it's just Treasure Island. This is just Treasure Planet in the sea. It's for decades. It's been it takes them to the one last treasure of the dragon fleet, and then chaos ensues. You know, watch Treasure Planet though, it's a good movie. That's my historical pick. It's historical fantasy, but I don't care. It's my historical pick. And for my romance pick, we have a young adult book that looked very cute, and it's called I Love You S'more by Ariane de Sombre. Ivy Raines needs camp for an escape like she did as a child. After going through a very public breakup with her first girlfriend and teen TV show megastar, she wants nothing more than a summer of sunshine, friends, and s'mores as the newest counselor. But when she signs up to run the camp's musical production, she soon finds herself in a rivalry she didn't see coming with co-director Rin. She's bossy and thinks she knows everything because she's the most experienced counselor. Worse, it's a girl Ivy had a falling out with when she was younger. The worst. It's the last thing Ivy needs while going through a breakup, but as tension between them builds, sparks begin to fly brighter than a campfire. As the days get hotter, will Ivy discover she can still have the summer escape she needed after all, in the way her heart has always wanted? It sounds cheesy, but it also sounds super cute, and sometimes I just want like a light heart sweet romance, so, you know, here we are. I'm gonna read it. I hope it's great. Maybe I should have saved it for Sapphic September when I was about to say whenever that happens. In September. It's in the name. Anyway, those are the books that I will be reading this month. This TBR video has been chaos. I'm so sorry. I'm in a good mood though, so that's probably what it is. This has been chaos, but I hope that you enjoyed it. If you've read any of these books, please let me know. Or if you now want to read any of these books, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear about it. I love talking about these things with you guys. And a lot of the time, by the time this video posts, I may have read a couple of them. I actually think this will be posting the last week of June, so I probably will not have read any of them. But you never know. By the time you comment, I might have read something. So I might have an opinion about it by then. But let me know if you've read them, if you liked them, etc. Have you seen Treasure Planet? Did you like that movie? If you didn't, then you're wrong. That's gonna be it for me though. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and share. I post videos every single week on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, except the first full week of the month because taking breaks is important, etc, etc, etc. So I will see you guys later on this week. Don't forget to take your meds, drink your water, not your Dr. Pepper, and do something today to take care of yourselves. Okay, thanks, bye.